The simulated universe is one of the core gameplay loops in Honkai Star Rail and features prominently during Herta's and Silverwolf's stories. In lore, this digitized simulation was conceptualized by the 83rd member of the Genius Society. While the face of the simulated universe seems to be Herta, there are actually 3 other collaborators on this project. Each of them are members of the Genius Society and are heavy hitters in the field of science and technology within their own right. But what do we know about these other contributors? That's what we'll be exploring in this video. Before we talk about them though, if you are interested in more Honkai Star Rail content, do consider subscribing to the channel. While Herta is one of the main contributors and the person we know the most about, I've already talked about her in another video, in this one we'll be focusing on the other 3. Let's talk about the 2 lesser known members first, starting with Ruan Mei. Ruan Mei is the 81st member of the Genius Society, and while we haven't met her in person, we do know what she looks like, as she has appeared alongside Herta and Screwllum in the Genius's Repose light cone art. According to Herta, Ruan Mei is described to be a master of creation and cultivated the protoplasms of the simulated eons. What exactly that means, I have no clue, but my guess is that Ruan Mei is largely responsible for developing the early versions of the universe and its eons. Given how the simulated universe is said to naturally develop much like in real life, the creation of such things likely follow the same pattern, and Ruan Mei is the person who developed the starting point of every object and living being within the simulated universe. Some of the information regarding the eons actually come from some of the larger organizations, such as the IPC, but as Herta couldn't get information on Lan, Ruan Mei is the one responsible for technically fleshing him out. This is why she is thought to have originated from the Xianzhou Alliance, given her intimate knowledge of the Eon of the Hunt, although from which ship specifically is unknown at this point. There is also a very small chance of meeting Ruan Mei through an event within the simulated universe in what she calls her simulated lab. It's a patch of code she secretly introduced, which likely acts as a hidden working environment for her, much like dev rooms you would find in games. It's unclear whether the person we meet in this event is Ruan Mei herself or just an automated response, but upon meeting her, you get quite a lot of free stuff, such as 2000 cosmic fragments or even all the blessings from one eon. She also for some reason wants us to keep this area a secret from the other contributors, but I'm not sure why. Not much else is known about her though, and it's unclear whether she will have a more prominent role in the future. The next collaborator is the 84th member of the Genius Society, Stephen Lloyd. We know the least about Stephen, especially since he wishes to remain relatively anonymous, as even Herta stopped herself short when we asked about him. His contributions to the simulated universe are also largely unknown, but given he has been involved each time with the fun aspect of the SU, it's likely his contributions lie in the gamification of the system as a whole. Gamification is a way to incentivize boring and repetitive tasks by making the process more involved with a progression system, reward system, and even RPG elements. The recent event, which provided double rewards to simulated universe players, was a patch Stephen himself implemented, and Herta has mentioned that she would ask him to add more fun stuff in the future to incentivize the main character. Stephen is the reason why the SU feels more like a game rather than an elaborate simulation meant purely for academic reasons. I'm sure he contributes in other ways as well, but it's not clearly mentioned at this point. While not much is known about him, it's highly speculated that he's pretty young and is said to work in his foster father's fruit shop, though he often likes to daydream and slack off. Stephen is without a doubt a genius though, despite his rather aloof nature. On top of his contributions in the simulated universe, he is also the person who invented the Genius Frequency Catcher, a glove that is capable of capturing and confining all light and sound within a specific area. This invention is technically so advanced that it goes beyond their understanding of conventional science, even within Star Rail's universe. If he had shared this technology with the public, physics itself would likely change. However, he has no intentions of doing so and just mostly uses it to slack off from his work. Last but not least, we have the mechanical aristocrat Screwllum, the 76th member of the Genius Society. We've already met Screwllum through the Silverwolf storyline, however, there is still so much about him that the event didn't have a chance to touch on. Within the Simulated Universe team, Screwllum is the individual responsible for writing the underlying logic of the SU program and the algorithm that governs the galaxy, which is an insane accomplishment on its own. Screwllum has done so much in his time that he likely deserves a video all on his own, and I'm pretty sure that we would eventually see him as part of the main story in the future. For the purposes of this video though, I'll just run through the few big achievements he has. Firstly, Screwllum is partly responsible for the harmony that exists between mechanical and organic life forms. You see, sometime in the past, a fellow member of the Genius Society, Rupert, instigated a revolution and was hellbent on destroying all organic life in the universe. The war he started was so devastating that when it concluded, the IPC considered destroying all mechanical life forms just to ensure it couldn't happen again. Not only did Screwllum help end the war, but he also eased the tensions between these two species and prevented a genocide of mechanical beings. Screwllum is also considered to be one of the best hackers in the entire universe, with only those like Silverwolf able to even keep him on his mechanical toes. Given that Silverwolf can easily contend with the likes of a giant organization such as the IPC, this is not a small achievement. On top of all of this, Screwllum is also the ruler of his own planet, which he has aptly named Planet Screwllum. Suffice to say, he has quite an interesting background despite only appearing for a short stint during another character's event and companion quest. These are the 4 characters that are largely responsible for likely the most important scientific project in Star Rail's universe. Even a single Genius Society member is said to be centuries ahead of conventional science, but to have 4 of them working on one project speaks volumes of the Simulated Universe's achievement. Whether we will meet them in the future as part of the main story remains to be seen, but I have a feeling that as we get closer to the big picture story, which will undoubtedly involve the eons and the paths, the Simulated Universe along with its creators will take center stage. That does it for this video though. If you found it entertaining, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and as usual, have a nice day.